Okay, so what you should keep in mind is that there is a fancy word that's associated with your derivative, and it's marginal. Okay, so you've probably heard that in Math 121, especially if you're talking about linear functions. You're getting to your slope by finding your marginal cost, marginal revenue, and marginal profit. So if you're trying to find your instantaneous rate of change of your cost, of your profit, or of your revenue, then you call that the marginal cost. So if you see marginal cost, you should be noting that as C prime of Q. If you see marginal profit, that is capital P prime of Q. If you see marginal revenue, that is R prime of Q. All they're trying to tell you is that they want to find out where or how your function, your revenue, your cost, your profit function is increasing or decreasing. What is its rate of change? All right, so I want to look at problem number 44 because they've given us such a problem. 46 rather, sorry. Let me zoom in for you so we can see it together. Okay, so it reads, the marginal revenue derived from producing Q units of a certain commodity is R prime of Q equals 4Q minus 1.2Q squared dollars per unit. And notice they have a couple of things going on. Marginal revenue is labeled as R prime of Q. And also the units are as a slope, dollars per unit. If the revenue derived from producing 20 units is 30,000. So when I do a problem like this, I always try to stop short of whatever question that they ask, because there's a very good chance that I have enough information to come up with the equation that we're looking for. All right, so if I keep reading on, it says how much revenue. Okay, notice it doesn't say marginal revenue, it says revenue. So you always have to be careful because they gave you the marginal revenue, but they're looking for the revenue. How much revenue should be expected from producing 40 units? All right, so I'm assuming you guys have this right in front of you. I'm going to pull this away. All right, before I do so, remember, I'm going to use all of the information all the way down to here. So this one says 20 units of product gives you a revenue of 30,000. So what they're trying to tell you in essence is that R of 20, it's hard to see that, 20 equals 30,000. Not R prime, but R, right? It says right there, the revenue derived from 20 units is 30,000. All right, so let's go over here, consider what we have. So we have R prime of Q, what they started us off with, and they also tell us that if you produce 20 units, then your revenue is 30,000, or R of 20 equals 30,000, like that. All right, so let me remind you, at the very end of the problem, it says how much revenue. So we want R of Q. Notice we know how to get from R to R prime, you just take the derivative, but if you want to go backwards, you have to take the antiderivative. So this is the antiderivative of R prime of Q dq. Notice the match, Q dq. Okay, remind you, antiderivative and derivative cancel each other out and give you just R. So this equals the antiderivative. Well, here's R prime right here. 4Q minus 1.2Q squared dq. Put line here. So we're not marked. Okay, so then R of Q equals, let's get to this antiderivative, 4Q squared over 2 minus 1.2Q cubed over 3 plus C. Okay, C could be absolutely anything. But wait a minute, it can't be absolutely anything because we have a single point on R, right? So R of 20, actually, let me simplify this first. I'm going to put down R of Q first. So this is 2Q squared minus 0.4Q cubed plus C. So now let's use this initial condition. So R of 20 says plug in 20 for all the Q's. And if you do that, you get 30,000. worth of revenue. Okay. So let's pull out our calculator. So this is 800 minus 3200 plus C equals 30,000. Okay, folks, if you see an error, just let me know. I am human. So minus 2400 plus C equals 30,000. So adding 2400 to both sides, C equals 32,400. All right, so what are we going to do with that? We're going to take the C value and plug it back here, right? That'll give us our general revenue function. Okay, so then RQ in general equals 2Q squared minus 0.4Q cubed plus 32,400. Right, now notice we haven't actually answered the question that they've proposed. Okay, so look at your problem 46. How much revenue should be expected from producing 40 units? All right, so the last thing we need to do is just plug 40 into our revenue equation and we're done. So 2 times 40 squared minus 0.4 times 40 cubed plus 32,400, and your revenue, this will give you some number of dollars. Okay, how do I know that? Problem number 46, it says right in the problem right there that you're in dollars per unit, so your revenue should just be in dollars. Okay, so there's 46 rather.